Hey all, Dr. Jared here. As fall weather approaches and TV marketing campaigns begin, I've had quite a few people ask me my opinion on the flu shot. And so I just thought I'd record a video here and throw out some thoughts or ideas or frankly, some data that is probably intentionally being occluded from you to help you make the best decision for your health. Now, there is a reality that the flu is unpleasant. In fact, it is deadly, although not near as deadly as the media would like you to believe. Roughly 6,000 to 7,000 people per year die from the flu. Over 100 million flu shots are given every year. Now, keep in mind, there's over 300 million Americans. So give or take a third of people in America get a flu shot. And that number is rising as the AMA has extended and increase the amount of people they recommend receive the flu shot. Now, interestingly enough, flu deaths have not declined. Pneumonia deaths have not declined. However, all the side effects of the shot have radically increased. So I'm going to give you a few things to think about as you make the best decision for your own health. When I say things have increased, adult onset allergies, Alzheimer's, infections from other sources, and many, many other things have increased as flu shots have been spread through pregnant women, young children. Go back 35 years and they were only recommended for people over 65. But unfortunately, there was no change in death rate when they were given to the Medicare age group. So we're going to start with some facts for why the flu shot is way less effective than you might think. And also the things that it does that you may not want to have happen in your body. And we're going to finish with alternatives to empower you to be stronger in knowing that your body can be more able and healthy to fight off an infection like the flu or like any other infection you may be worried about or not want to pass on to, let's say, immunocompromised people. So first of all, here, the flu shot technically has some level of effectiveness. Now, you actually have to believe the newscasters and medical studies that have been routinely disproven, but 10 to 40% effective depending on the year. There's a couple of websites that'll say it's 40 to 60% effective, but if you watch the news this year, on average for the last 5 years, it's been somewhere between 10 and 40% for the sources that I can find. So it is not a guarantee that you will not get the flu. It also takes multiple weeks to kick in for most people. And lastly, it actually is shown to weaken your immune system shortly after to make you more likely to get sick from other sources when you get it, which is why they push you to get the flu shot earlier than quote unquote flu season. But the first reason the flu shot is so ineffective compared to even maybe other vaccinations is that the flu is a unique virus that mutates every 3 to 6 months. But on average, it takes 9 months to make a flu vaccine. So I want you to hear that again. The flu mutates every 3 to 6 months, but it takes 9 months to make the vaccination. So the flu is not a consistent virus. In fact, it's the opposite. It is something that mutates, and that's actually tracked at the University of Illinois in Champaign. There's been hundreds of flu variations over the last 100 years. So that's step one. Step two, if you do routinely get flu shots, the immune response that you get wears off. So you may not know that, but if you come in contact with the flu naturally, your immunity lasts at least 60 years to that type of strain. So 60 years, and that's not when it starts coming back. That's actually when they stopped studying it. So if you have natural immunity, so if you continually expose yourself by going to the gym, by going to the grocery store, by going to work, school, whatever, 60 plus year immunity, on average, a flu shot lasts 5 years. So over time, you actually become more susceptible to more types of viruses if you routinely get the flu shot. Another thing, and the reason for that is very simple, you're getting an inactive virus. So think about that. If you're getting a dead virus, how can you become immune to it? if you come in contact with somebody who had the flu 3 weeks ago and you get some of their dead flu virus, do you develop immunity? Obviously, you know the answer, but the reality is that so that you can't get the flu from the shot, you get an inactive or dead virus. Now, to make you susceptible, to get your immune system to respond, there's one or two things done or added. One of those things is guaranteed to be in there, which is thimerosal, which is mercury, which is incredibly neurotoxic. It's linked to autism. It's linked to Alzheimer's. It's linked to, all sorts of neurodegenerative conditions. And it's in that vial at a toxic dose. So they claim that the type of mercury that's put in that goes through your body and exits your body. But there's actually quite a bit of research that shows that it doesn't exit your body. It stores in your muscle or your nerve tissue, specifically your brain, and has a cumulative negative effect. And if you need more data or research on that, there is a great podcast on Joe Rogan. It's actually podcast number 1999 on Spotify, which interviews a lawyer named Robert Kennedy Jr. on all the effects and how it's absolutely false what the CDC states about the type of mercury is non-toxic and how it exits your body. And they have study after study after study. The second thing is what's called aluminum salts. That's not always in the vaccination, but it's in the ones that actually have a higher success rate at getting an immune response, because aluminum, being that it's another heavy metal, what both aluminum and mercury do is they damage your nerve system, and your nerve system is what controls your immune system. So by damaging your nerve system in the short term, it heightens your immune system and makes you more likely to develop an immune response to a deadened or weakened virus. That's how almost all vaccinations work. But specifically sticking with the flu shot, one of the side effects of that is you can also become susceptible or sensitive to other things. So if you're like, I don't understand, I've lived in the Midwest my whole life and now I'm allergic to mold, dust, pollen. Guess what? That's possibly part of chronically getting vaccinations, let alone the rare side effects like paralysis from Guillain-Barré syndrome and some of the other things that also can go on here. Now, there's also, to quote some other studies, for reasons that I think it's important to, in my opinion, avoid this in most cases. The University of Illinois of Rockford actually did a study that showed that if there was ever a pandemic, now think about this, this is before 2020, if there was ever a pandemic, those that had gotten 5 flu shots in a row would actually be more likely to die because they'd have a lower immune response and a lower natural immune response. So again, take that for what it's worth. That's not my research. And here's the last one. And this is one that really, frankly, ticks me off. Pregnant women previously were exempt from the flu shot because of risk to the fetus. If you look at real data, since they've added the flu shot to the recommended schedule for women, your most likely chance of miscarrying is within 28 days of receiving a flu shot over any other traditional normal intervention. So again, these are all things that are absolute facts. They, are frankly ignored by many people, and they'll often say, well, my doctor recommends that. Well, keep in mind, I gain nothing from telling you this except caring that you have an informed decision. Doctors are actually bonused on if they get you to give this shot. CVS and Walgreens and pharmacies like that, it's their highest margin of any product. And by margin, I mean profit margin. It's their highest margin of any product. And here's one last study before we talk about things you can do. There's a study that goes all the way back into the 1970s that shows that people that got 5 flu shots in a row had 1,000% increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Now, that's a very old study. Should they repeat it? Absolutely. But I've never seen any data that disproves it. They'll say at the bottom of like the websites that, these old myths, but I've never actually seen a study where they tracked flu shot versus non-flu shot people. But they do have a study that shows that 5 flu shots in a row, 1,000% increase in Alzheimer's. So again, for me, I'm absolutely not getting one. I can't remember the last time I got the flu. We obviously intentionally expose ourselves to natural immunity. And here's the thing, because one of the things that you'll get guilted into with not just this vaccination, but many others, well, you're at risk of passing it to high risk individuals. And I've never heard a more false statement. And here's why. People that are passers or carriers are people with weak immune systems. People with strong immune systems carry and pass at the lowest rate. So if you really want to avoid passing it to mom or grandma or other immune compromised people, I would sincerely ask you to look at this. Are you exercising on a regular basis? Do you get adjusted on a regular basis? Are you avoiding sugar? Do you take no medications because you've invested in your health, or no medications that are lifestyle diseases? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you detoxing on a regular basis? Are you taking immune boosting supplements that can lower your ability to transmit? If you're really trying to avoid transmitting to people you love and care about, I love that. And I respect you for that. But take a look at, is a shot versus lifestyle really the best way to look at that? And so that's for you to decide. But I've had this question just often enough that I thought it was time to record another thing. So in summary, 3 to 6 months mutation, 9 months to make one. It's an inactive or dead virus. It has 2 toxic heavy metals. It's proven to cause miscarriages, not be highly effective, and actually more likely to die if a true pandemic or high risk virus comes in. And again, for more data, go ahead and look up the Joe Rogan podcast, number 1999 on Spotify with Robert Kennedy Jr., where they just absolutely throw data piece after data piece after data piece. And I've never seen any of that personally disproven. So love and appreciate you guys. Have an excellent day, and make the best choice for your health and your family's health. Have a great day.